So I'm thinking about what is the right response to this pandemic. And I have to be very careful here because I'm struggling with just how to open up to say the right words. Finding the right words, especially, can be difficult in times like this because it is important for me that I maintain sight of who I am and my core values that are to inspire and encourage while still being mindful of the seriousness of the situation that we're all in. I want you to know that I and many people are praying and have been praying for you and all of us in this situation. So I'm writing this because I'm saddened by what I'm seeing taking place in the grocery stores. Now, I originally talked about this about 3 weeks ago. It's where we go into the grocery stores and we're seeing that they're out of things like toilet paper, which I really can't wrap my head around. And it's to the point where it's impossible for you and I, and especially the most vulnerable in our communities, to have access to these things. And we keep hearing we're in this thing together, and yet we look on the shelves and that's not true. And so I want to talk about what we should do. What should our response be? Now, as a motivational speaker and an author, I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not even going to try and talk about that. So my advice would be to follow the CDC recommended guidelines, first and foremost. Now, how should we respond? Everyone responds to things differently. They respond to fear and uncertainty very differently. However, for me, as a Bible-believing Christian, there's only one way for me to respond, and that is through faith, hope, and prayer. And I will talk about them in a moment. But let's look at the two most common emotional responses, and they are fear and worry. Fear will not make you feel better. It will only make it worse and leads to anxiety. Worry will not solve anything, as it never does, and it too will lead to more anxiety. Acting out of fear, it's supposed to be a natural response to imminent danger that is known, like being awoken in the middle of the night by an intruder, because your initial response to that is going to be that you are afraid for your life, and your natural response will be in proportion to that real danger. Or better yet, when your neighbor's house goes up in flames and you know they're still inside, your immediate response is to rush in and save them without any regard for your own life. What about worry? Studies have shown that only a very small percentage of what we worry about ever materializes, if it even does. Now, our minds are powerful and can conjure up some pretty scary stuff. But at the same time, we're capable of creating the most idyllic scenarios. So you have to ask yourself, what do you want to be consumed by? Fear and worry, or something else? So let's talk about that something else. As a man of faith, it is especially important that in times like these that I rest my hope and faith in something that is real, something that is tangible, something that I can without a doubt rely on. And for me, that is God, Jesus Christ. Now, in my book, The Periodic Table of Character Traits, I talk about what only God was able to do for me, and that what he was able to set me free from, not man, but God. Not AA or NA, but God. Now, I'm not saying that NA or NA is not right. I'm just telling you for what happened to me. And since that I know without a shadow of a doubt that God is real, my faith, my hope rests solely in his promises, like when Moses said to Joshua in Deuteronomy 31:6, to be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic before them. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. Now, Moses may have been talking to Joshua, but this speaks directly to God's promises for us all who believe, have faith, and put their trust in him. So I want to encourage you to trust God because he is mightier than anything we are going through. I pray this blesses you. I pray that you are safe, practicing social distancing, washing your hands. God bless you, and thank you.